Morganites have a new waifu. Morgana, the Witch of Eyes, is the newest addition to the Morganite archetype. And now, Konami just dropped a huge bomb of information on us in these last couple of days, and this one definitely takes the cake, because players are running out to get the older Morganite cards right after this card's announcement, as well as the third Morganite card. So let's get right into it. While she is a Morganite card herself, she also adds any Morganite spell card from the deck to the hand when she's normal or specialed. And then, if your opponent declares an attack, you can banish a Morganite spell from your graveyard to negate the attack. And then if you have 3 or more Morganite spell cards with different names that are in your graveyard and or banished, you can then reduce the attack of all your opponent's monsters to 0. So that's pretty good. So not only is she able to add the older Morganite spells, but we see they added a third one that we can go into, which is kind of represented above her hand right there with the 3 little orbs. And I assume those are the colors that we see for the Morganite spells. And now Guilt Gripping Morganite is the newest addition as far as the spells go. So for the rest of the duel, obviously you cannot activate monster effects from the hand. They kind of carry through with all the Morganite spells. But if you normal summon a level 5 or higher monster, you don't have to tribute. That's insane. And then the secondary effect is also really nutty because you don't have to pay life points to activate spell or trap cards. Counter fairies, I'm looking at you. And then the second effect kind of represents Succumbing by banishing it from the graveyard, reveal a Morganite card from your hand, put it on the bottom of the deck, and then draw an additional card. So you can replace any copies of Morganites that you already have used. So I just have to note, with Guilt Gripping, Succumbing, and Time Tearing, you're drawing 2 times per turn, normaling 2 times per turn. Those normals don't have to have tributes. You don't have to pay life points for spell trap activation. Your monsters can attack up to 2 monsters per turn, and then when they do damage through a battle with a monster, they do double damage. That's pretty insane. And then on top of that, the bot sponsor has the effects where you can stop their attacks for the stall players out there, as well as reduce all their opponent's attacks down to 0. So when you swing with that Succumbing, you are swinging for game. And now, these reasons, as well as the new boss sponsor that the community really loves, is why players are going out and buying out the Morganites as we speak. So Time Tearing Morganite, if you want the Prismatic Secret Rare from the 25th Anniversary Tins, you're a little late right now because they're literally $17, 18, and then 70. So yeah, don't be going and getting these right now. So obviously, if you're going to be picking up this card, hopefully you already have it, or I'd wait a little bit because these prices will definitely not be what you're seeing on the screen right there, okay? We are seeing that the players did start freaking out as soon as these support cards were announced. Again, they really love the boss monster, I guess. So we see they were bought out immediately. And now this is a card we could see them slip into something in the very near future. So again, I wouldn't freak out right now. We have some time until the boss monsters do hit, but the players really took to this. Then when you look at the Time Tearing Morganite from the Cyberstorm Access, we see that they are expensive as well. Literally $7, $8, all the way up to the next page, which you know they're going to be breaking into the double digits. And then obviously with the Succumbing, we do see an increase as well, just not as to the drastic effect, even though I'm a little surprised by that. But right now, they are seeming a little cheaper. I'm sure as we talk, they'll even kind of be picked up a little bit. But yeah, we're going to see these cards as well as the Time Tearing just getting bought out. So I'm pretty sure if you're a fan of these cards, you probably have your copies. But if you don't, you might want to wait, especially on the Time Tearing. And a lot of this, again, is because we have all sorts of decks that fans do love, rogue players love. It's kind of like the Primites, where this can actually affect all sorts of decks that a lot of players do love. And in some form and fashion, you can even mix it with Primite, like we did on a different video. But speaking of cards that the Morganites bring in support to, we did mention that players are freaking out about the Majesty's Fiend combo. And yes, we do see the Quarter Century going out from the Quarter Century Stampede, and that is going to be something that a lot of players are going to be flocking to, as well as Secret Rare right now from the Primal Origins. When we look down, they're decently expensive, and again, a lot of these are not even like near mint first ed. So once we start kind of moving down the page, you will see at some point they're going to spike. Yeah, $10 right there, near mint first ed, about $11 right there. So you're looking at definitely into the double digits, closer to that, $13, $14 mark, the later you get for those near mint first eds. And again, Majesty's Fiend is just kind of one example, but a lot of players were immediately mentioning, hey, you don't have to tribute for him, you summon him out, can summon another monster out, you get all sorts of beefy effects, and you are looking pretty good. And then your opponent also can't use monster effects from their hand or anywhere else, so as we know, sometimes that is an early GG. And then when we also go to some other options like the Vanity's Fiend, we do have a lot of copies, ulti, so it really doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and look at the OTS one because that's a little bit more available and probably cleaner. And again, they're about $50 right now, okay? Not saying run out and grab these cards. I'm saying these are all cards that you want to be on the lookout for, because these are cards that players are targeting that are also buying out the time tearings and the succumbings right now. Because again, being able to normal these and then shut your opponent off is a rogue player's wet dream. And then you can't mention the Vanity package without the Vanity's Ruler, and normally would be off limits because of the 2 tributes, but with the no tributes, might as well look into them. 2500 attack, 16 defense, very light. Getting a lot of fairy support coming in the future, and with just being able to normal him, pretty good. And right now for those reprint ultras, they're like a quarter a piece right now, 30 cents. Going down the page, pretty cheap, and I'm sure there are multiple sellers with multiple copies if that's something you want to be on the lookout for in the future. But if you want to get the bling bling ultimate rare, they're about $40 a pop if that's something you're into. And again, we just saw Majesty's Fiend get the Stampede treatment. Not sure if they're going to go over and get the Vanities as well, but in the future, we might see that happen. But for now, these are cards that you definitely want to be on the lookout for once players, again, go out and start doing the buyouts for all the cards that the Morganites are going to be supporting. And Majesties and Vanities are going to be on the top of the stun players list. And then I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and say Light and Darkness Dragon is pretty broke with that card. Just being able to summon it, prevent your opponent from activating any monster effects, and you are looking pretty good. You're going to get a lot of mileage out of that one card. So Light and Darkness Dragon is another card I believe players are going to be looking to once the Morganites come out fully to the TCG. And they're really cheap right now. Yeah, we have like 1,000 of them for $1.65. That's insane. So pick up your playset, pick up some homie copies. You'll be looking pretty good, because quarter century Light and Darkness Dragon, especially when you can normal summon it without any tribute, is something that you need to be on the lookout for and having in your collection for the future. And now getting to the fairy side of things, Archlord Christia is an immediate go-to when players realize you don't have to tribute for the normal summon of your boss monsters, because once Christia is on the board, no player is going to be able to special summon any monsters. But if for some reason this face-up card is sent to the graveyard, it will return to the top of your deck. So then not only will you be drawing twice, so it won't be a dead draw, but you can actually summon it immediately with no tributes required. So this is why a lot of players are actually looking for Archlord Christia when we're talking about the Morganites. And right now, the prices are kind of staying steady, but they're like $58, $62. Not too sure how many players have been picking it up today. It doesn't seem like actually any. So if this is something you're on the lookout for or interested in, definitely be considering, because I do not believe we're going to be getting another quarter century version of the Christia, so do keep that in mind. But when we go over to the secret rares, light plays are literally like $75, $84 for near mints. Those are not first eds, because when you go over to the first eds, they're like a bajillion dollars. Yeah, so quarter century secret rare Archlord Christia, definitely something that you should be considering if you're looking to stun the hell out of the opponent as a Morganite player, because yes, Vanities, Majesties, even the Ruler is looking good. And again, it's looking pretty good for the fairy type out there, especially when you're talking about counter fairies. And you cannot talk about these Morganites without mentioning Bountiful Artemis, okay? Because with counter fairies, you gotta draw it all back. And now with Bountiful Artemis, we do have that nice ultimate rare. And I know we got the champion pack, which is pretty nice, but the ultimate rare of this card is literally $15-16, less than $17. Looking pretty good. And then when we're talking about the future quarter century secret rare, they're like 12 bucks right now. Okay, so that is definitely something that players would like to be on the lookout for in the near future, especially when we see all this love to the Morganites, because again, the latest Morganite says you don't have to pay life points for the activation of your traps or your spells. So all your solemns are free, and then you're getting draws off them, so you don't have to care about activating them in some crazy sequence. So definitely be on the lookout for your Bountiful Artemises on the blingy side if this is a deck that you like to play in the near future or at all, because Counter Fairy is a fan favorite, and I know it's a favorite of mine. But when we talk about Counter Fairy, we have to talk about one of the original videos on this channel, and that is Condemned Witch, because it is amazing tech in many decks. And now Condemned Witch is a monster that many players are aware of, because whenever she's summoned, it gets the all-powerful forbidden quick plays from the deck to the hand, and you can't really ask for much better support than that. But then during your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you contribute her to summon out any level 4 fairy from the deck, and Bountiful Artemis fits the bill. So with the counter fairies becoming increasingly popular, many players do go the route with Condemned Witch, so they get that free add of a Forbidden Droplets or any of the Forbidden cards, and then during the opponent's turn, they get that free Bountiful Artemis. So you essentially are running 6 copies of your boss monster. So do be considering not only the Bountiful Artemises, but the Condemned Witches before a lot of the counter fairy players get the same idea and start picking up these cards. And honestly, Condemned Witch would be a card I would really like to see in a quarter century set, because they do have a quarter century secret rare over in the OCG, and I'm in love with it, so I would love that one here. And I think the one they have has the red text. Amazing. But right now, near mint first, yeah, we got like $1.37, $1.37, $2 right there. Obviously, shipping starts kicking in and being weird. The one with the 10 stack was Korean, so don't worry about those. And all of these are just looking pretty good, literally less than 5s, because once we go to the stack that has more than 3 pages and pages down is when you see they're about $5 a piece. Okay, and right here, they're literally more than 5s. But yeah, if you have a stack of 5 on the bottom, and you're looking at about $6 a piece. My bad, $6 a piece. So if you don't have Condemned Witch, especially when you have near mint first, and wait, that wasn't even near mint first. Yo, that's actually crazy. So Condemned Witch, near mint first, definitely something to be picking up well before it goes up in price, because even without the support for Counter Fairy, it's good for the newest support coming to Yu-Gi-Oh! That we're about to talk about. But before we go to the next support that we're going to be talking about, I have to say, if you made it this far in the video, drop that sub. And if you've already done that, smash that like button and share the video with a friend and help get the word out. And for those of you that are trying to make them money moves, check out our market watches and maybe even become a member of the channel. But let's get right back to the video. Medius the Innocent is the latest lore coming to the core sets of the OCG. So essentially this is like the Visa Starfrost lore, Diabellstar, or even way back in the day with the Albaz lore. So we know once this card is announced and released, we're going to have all sorts of support flooding around it. But the unintentional support that this card has been given is the one we just mentioned, Condemned Witch, because this card is a level 4 Dark Fairy, which is the stats perfectly set for Condemned Witch's effect. And then on top of that, whenever it is normal or special summoned, you can either add an imprisoned deity from the deck to your hand or special summon it. And then once Medius is in your graveyard, you can shuffle one monster from your hand or face up on the field into your deck, and then if you do, you can special summon it, but it's banished when it leaves the field. So since it gets an effect when it's summoned, even during the opponent's turn, the Condemned Witch can tribute off, summon the Medius, and then the Medius will actually special summon the Imprisoned Deity, which is actually the Imprisoned Deity Beast of Art Magia. Bohemian Groves, is that you? And then once the bird is summoned as a quick effect during the main phase, you can actually use it to fusion summon an Art Magia fusion monster or the Nerva, the Imprisoned Deity of Creation. And then once it's sent to the graveyard, you can actually add an Art Magia spell from the deck to the hand. So with the fusions, you can either negate their monster effects or even go for a full board wipe on your opponent's turn, all through the Imprisoned Deity. And that is with the quick effect of Condemned Witch just being able to special summon the Medius directly from the deck. So that's pretty good, because again, once you start scrolling down, you got a couple real good near mint first editions, you got some unlims, but the deeper and deeper you go, the closer it is to that $5-6 mark, and a lot of them are unlimited, so you have to kind of be careful of the landmines laying around, because they're not quite the same. And very quickly, they will push $8 to $10 if players do catch on, and if any other form of support comes out that Condemned Witch can grab from the deck. But wrapping up, I have to go over the sales band hype that we have been seeing. And that is because the secret rares right now of this card, if you went near mint first, are literally at that $10 mark, and they have been selling. And some crazy dude even bought them at the 30s. But once in a while, you can actually get some snipes that are lower than that mark right there. But a lot of them are solo, so they're closer to that $5 mark after the shipping, okay? So to the players that didn't get the sales ban when we talked about it, they have gone up in price, and this new high is slowly being solidified unless more flood to the market or players just decide not to play it. I know some players are little haters of it, and that's okay. And then if you're looking at the super rares, I want to say that these are actually not looking too bad, because on the first page, yes, they're like 0.25s, but there's not a lot. On that second page is where you start seeing 0.39, so it's like 39 cents, less than 40 cents. You can start picking up yourself some play sets of this card in case it does become meta and you don't have to pay through the nose for the secret rares. So do be on the lookout. And then we're also going to have to mention Piercing the Darkness, because as we said, we were talking about the Morganites on this channel with the runic variant, and Piercing the Darkness was putting in work with the Succumbing Morganite, being able to gain the attack like an Honest and then deal double damage, as well as draw whenever you summon Vanillas. So if you're going to run any Vanillas in your Morganite deck, definitely consider Piercing the Darkness, and the market has agreed, because these cards have been flying off the shelves, okay, and that's actually insane. So if these are cards that you're actually potentially interested in, definitely grab them sooner than later, because this Morganite support is actually going insane. So if any of these cards are up your alley, like the Condemned Witch, the Bountiful Artemis, hell, even the Piercing the Darkness, definitely be picking them up sooner rather than later, because a lot of the times these prices start to spike, especially when the player base has fallen in love with cards like the newest Morganite waifu. And if you want to be picking up more cards before they spike in price, definitely check out our market watch flashing up above, and definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. But most importantly, guys, stay safe, have a good night, and suck it, nerds.